Man, that was a beautiful finale to Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. I cannot wait. I mean, that was just amazing. I am never gonna forget this series. Hey man, what's going on? What are you up to today? Oh hey, I just finished Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. What's next? Oh yeah, Best Wishes, right? You said the next series after Diamond and Pearl was Pokemon Best Wishes. Oh, that's great. I freaking love Diamond and Pearl. Diamond and Pearl was so good. But yeah, you should really just skip Best Wishes. Just go to XY. It's so much better. I really don't think you should watch Best Wishes. What do you mean skip it? I don't want to skip it. This was amazing. I don't want to skip the next season. The next season is probably going to be as good as this one. I'm telling you, dude, you're not going to like this show. This show is bad. I mean, it's still Pokemon, but it is bad. Trust me, you're not going to like it. But, I mean, if you want to try it out, I'm not going to stop you. I'm telling you, you're not going to like it. Take my word for it, but if you don't want to, fine. Just knock yourself out, have a good time. It's not my fault if you end up hating it. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I'm just going to turn it on. Alright, yeah, Ash is still 10, whatever. I mean, I kind of already predicted that. I mean, it makes sense for the story. Ash is still 10, whatever. The series is still going to be great. I really doubt they're going to screw it up. Like, imagine him losing to a level 5 starter at the beginning of this show. If Pikachu just freaking beat a Latios, if he loses to a level 5 starter, this is going to be the worst anime ever. You know what? Screw the show. I'm skipping to XY. Greetings, my comrades, and welcome back to Zanolith. I hope you guys enjoyed the little opening, and I hope that you guys know what we are going to be talking about in today's video. Pokemon Best Wishes was the anime that accompanied the 5th generation of the Pokemon franchise, and is probably the most controversial one to date. I mean, people really hate this season of the anime. But either way, this will be the first part of a 4-part series where I'm going to analyze every Pokemon anime series in the new era. If you guys do not know what I am talking about, in my last video about Ash Ketchum and his true personality, I made a concept about how after the Diamond and Pearl series of the anime got reset starting with Best Wishes and is still going on till present day. So in this series, we are going to tackle Pokemon Best Wishes, XY, Sun and Moon, and finally Pokemon Journeys. But we can only start at the beginning. Due to some bad circumstances and some poor writing decisions, Pokemon Best Wishes was sadly given the title of Worst Pokemon Anime, and I can see why. There are many things in this season of the anime that would turn people away. Personally, I really enjoyed the Best Wishes portion of the anime, and felt like it was solid. I think it doesn't deserve nearly half the hate it gets. Pokemon Best Wishes was sadly what I would call the first test of the experiment. Best Wishes is when they start trying out new things, and these new ideas will later find themselves in XY and Sun and Moon, which are 2 of the best Pokemon seasons of the anime. So sadly, Best Wishes had to be the test run before crafting the final product. However, even though I'll always love the Best Wishes series, this video isn't about my opinion, rather an unbiased look at this show. In today's video, we're going to be tackling 6 categories that I believe are the fundamentals for a Pokemon anime. Characters, Pokemon, battles, animation, story, and overall enjoyability of the series. While going through these different categories, we're going to be looking at the pros and the cons, and at the end of today's analysis video, we're going to come to an overall unbiased consensus about Pokemon Best Wishes. And maybe some of you will look back on this series on a better or worse way than you already did before. But enough of me stalling, let's jump into the most controversial series of the Pokemon anime to date. Pokemon Best Wishes. So before we talk about anything else, let's go over some of the important characters, starting off with our main trio, Ash, Iris, and Silent. So let's start off with Ash. Ash in Best Wishes was reset to essentially being a rookie trainer, but Ash in Best Wishes is still a loving and charming character like he's always been before, and I still find him to be really enjoyable in this series. Plus, I like his dynamic with his friends and Pokemon, and although he might not be the best trainer this season, I still really liked him from a personality standpoint. Then there is Iris. Now I know a lot of people hate her because of the little kid thing, but honestly Iris is one of the anime's most interesting companions. She is by far the best battler out of any Pokegirls, and her backstory with the Opelucid gym leader Drayden is really interesting. Plus, I love the way she develops with her Pokemon, especially her Excadrill. Iris is also one character who is fully immersed in nature, and that allowed us to see someone who had a different mentality than other people while traveling, especially with Silent. Now folks, get ready for the main attraction as it is evaluation time. Silent is by far my favorite character in the entire Best Wishes series. Now there isn't anything too interesting about him, but I find some of the things he does so ridiculous that it's great. Silent is also a pretty decent battler, and his goal is quite interesting. The idea of a Pokemon connoisseur is really unique, and honestly, it should have been in Kalos instead of Unova, but it was still a really cool concept. So we've gone over our main trio, but what about the rivals? There are a lot of rivals in Best Wishes. And I mean a lot. If you were to describe all of them in this video, we would probably be here for way too long. So I'm just going to summarize them all. Knockoff Paul. Oops, I said his name wrong. The one and only Super Klutz. Super salty because they lost a gym battle. Someone who hates dragons probably way too much. I think we all forgot about this guy and no one actually knew he existed. Oh. I'm just gonna skip this one. Okay? Great. Although there were a lot of rivals and they were far from the best, I have to say I really did like how they were placed into the story, especially during the tournament arcs. The world just felt more alive with them around, and honestly, I like how everyone had a rival. Besides that, there aren't many characters in Best Wishes that really stand out. I mean, even N is a shell of the one we see in the Gen 5 games, and honestly, the games version of N, I can make an entire video on N that could probably end up being way longer than this one. But overall, while not being the best, the characters in Pokemon Best Wishes are not nearly as bad as people make them out to be. I'd even say, I enjoyed them. The Pokemon in Best Wishes are far from Ash's best group of Pokemon. Some people would even go as far as say they're the worst in the entire franchise. And while that may be the case for a lot of people, I still feel like this group of Pokemon are also really good in a lot of ways. Let's get some of the less focused Pokemon started over with first. Boldore, Leavanny, and Unpheasant are all solid mons, and I have to say Boldore and Leavanny were a really cool way to implement unique strategies into battles. Unpheasant, on the other hand, was just another bird Pokemon that didn't really get any development and is by far one of Ash's worst Pokemon in my personal opinion. But I will say that the gym battle against Skyla is one of the best episodes of the entire BW series, so I can give Unpheasant that. And then we have Palpitoad, who definitely deserved better. Besides those Pokemon, Ash's Unova team was great and were bursting with personality. You had Pignite while having the same backstory as Charmander. It was just a joy to have around and was certainly hard-working. Tepig was probably going to be the ace of Ash's team, and although it isn't looked at that way, I can still remember all the effort this guy put in. Then we have Snivy, who was quite sassy. Snivy's sassy attitude along with her skills in battle allowed for a really cool Pokemon in the anime. Honestly, I would have liked to see this Snivy evolve into Servine, but overall Snivy was awesome. Then we had Scraggy, who was Ash's baby Pokemon in this series. Scraggy, while not having the best development, grows a lot from where it started. Again, it's another one of those cases where I would have loved to see the Pokemon evolve into a Scrafty, but I still love the Pokemon for what it was, and it had an awesome personality. Crocodile is the Pokemon many people state as Ash's ace Pokemon for this series, and I agree. I mean, look how cool this guy is. Those shades are awesome. But in all seriousness, Crocodile's arc of having a rivalry with Pikachu was enjoyable, and I like how in the end he gained the trust of Ash and became an absolute powerhouse. However, there is one Pokemon that tops all others in this series. Oshawott. Oshawott is probably one of Ash's weakest Pokemon in existence, but it is by far my favorite of Ash's Unova Pokemon. Its charming personality, unique struggles and developments, and overall, all the effort this little guy puts in just makes for a great Pokemon. Honestly, Oshawott is my favorite Pokemon, so I may be a little bit biased here, but I really did like Ash's Oshawott. I would love to see it come back in Pokemon Journeys and finally become the powerful Pokemon it was destined to be stated in the prophecies. However, Ash's Pokemon aren't the only major Pokemon in this series. Iris's Axew, Excadrill, and Dragonite were also really cool. Axew basically started off as a level 1 Mon, constantly grew over the course of the entire series, and had a lot of cool development. Excadrill had one of the most fascinating arcs in the series, and his journey to once again becoming a competent battler was awesome. Dragonite was just a beast, and honestly, Iris learning how to control him with the help of Cynthia, of all people, was a really exciting and cool arc to see. And Emolga was just cute and a loving Pokemon to have around. Then we have Silent's Pokemon. Now, Silent is sadly a character that takes a backseat in regards to Ash and Iris, but all of his Pokemon still prove to be quite awesome. Pansage, not being the most popular Pokemon, was a really cool partner for Silent, and honestly just felt like a natural partner for him. His other two Pokemon, Cruskull and Stunfisk, while not doing much, were still cool to see in battles during tournament arcs, where Pokemon you really wouldn't think Silent would catch, so having them along for the ride was a surprising welcome. Overall, all the Unova Pokemon were awesome, had great personalities and great developments. Although a lot of people don't really like them, I will always remember this group of Pokemon in a positive manner. The battles in Pokemon Best Wishes are what you would expect from a Pokemon anime series. While there may not be any standout battles in this series like Ash vs. Paul or Ash vs. Kukui, there are still plenty of fights that are creative, action-packed, and overall just awesome and engaging to watch. For one thing, while Ash may have been reset in this series to some extent, he really shines when it comes to creating unique strategies to take down opponents in Best Wishes. Some of the things Ash was able to pull up during his time in Unova was honestly crazy, and it was also really fun. Some battles were really good, like Ash vs. Stefan, Ash vs. Clay, and Ash vs. Skyla, which was one of my favorite personal battles from this series. Battles are fast-paced and action-packed. The animation is also a step up from DP, but we'll talk about that in the animation section. However, I feel like what truly made the battles in Best Wishes shine were the countless tournament arcs that happened throughout the series. We're not only going to see a large variety of different characters and Pokemon being used here, but we also get to see some cool matchups and interactions. I find it really interesting how Silent can beat Trip, yet Ash can't beat him at this point in the story. I also find it cool how Ash can beat his companions' rivals before they can beat them. Honestly, out of all the things I should have carried over to XY, this should have been it. Tournament arcs not only allowed us to focus on different characters, interactions, and awesome fights, but they also gave us matchups you would never expect. The gym battles in this series were also enjoyable. Now, they weren't the best ever, but that didn't make the gym battles not fun. But I did enjoy how each gym leader was presented. Most of them were very accurate to the black and white video game counterpart. However, I still wish Ash went to the Bopalucid City Gym and battled Drayden instead of Roxy. But it was still a pretty decent battle. If you have a problem with the battles in this series, then I honestly don't know what to tell you. I think they were fine besides the first rival battle of the series, but even then, that has an explanation for why Ash lost. And yeah, the Unova League was bad, but everything else was pretty solid. Best Wishes definitely wasn't short of battles. So now let's briefly discuss the animation in Pokemon Best Wishes. I think Pokemon Best Wishes does a really good job of mixing the old and the new. It had the stale, slow animations most of the time for the character movements like we saw up until Sun and Moon, but the battles were very visually pleasing for its time. We now have X, Y, and Sun and Moon, but back then the animation for Best Wishes was stunning and was pretty decent step up from the animation we got in the Diamond and Pearl series. Honestly, I really liked it, and I don't know why, but Pikachu's Iron Tail in this series just makes me so happy. It looks so good and it's just so satisfying to look at. But I will say Best Wishes did have a problem with using those line backgrounds way too much during battles. They were there a lot, if not most of the time, and that took away some of the immersion away from some of the series' most important battles. Now, there really isn't much left to say here besides the animation was a step up from Diamond and Pearl and was pretty solid, just like every other Pokemon anime season. Welcome to the part of the video I've been most excited to talk about. You guys already know this, but I'll briefly go over it once again. Because of the cancellation of Team Rocket vs. Team Plasma, a two-parter that was going to set up a majority of Best Wishes' storyline, in the end, it got cancelled due to natural disasters. A lot of the show had to be rewritten, causing the series to suffer. But I feel like even though they were limited, the writers did a decent job of rewriting the series in that limited time frame. The overall premise is the same as any season up to that point. Ash has gone to the Unova region and now wants to collect all 8 gym badges to enter the Unova League. But there are also multiple different story arcs that make Best Wishes a bit more interesting. I've already mentioned the countless tournament arcs that only allowed for unique matchups, but also expanded on the developments of side characters. These were a lot of fun, and personally, I would want them to come back for Pokemon Journeys, especially with the Pokemon World Championships taking place currently. However, I would say that the best stuff in regards to the story in Best Wishes was always revolving around Team Rocket. Even though the awesome two-parter Team Rocket vs. Team Plasma did get cancelled, both teams eventually did get integration into the story. Some arcs included the Meowth joining the Gang arc, the Tortuga arc, and Operation Tempest. A side story revolving around the mythical Pokemon Meloetta and an ancient underwater city. We also got to finally see Giovanni outside of Kanto like the show promised, and we actually got a battle between him and Ash, which was really cool, although really short. Honestly, Operation Tempest is probably my favorite arc in the Best Wishes series, and then we got Episode N, which revolved around the stuff from Pokemon Black and White 2. Honestly, this arc was just fine, and finally being introduced was great and all, but I feel like the writers really messed up things by not using the original Team Plasma. Ash and N could have had a rivalry throughout the entire series about how their morals clash with each other, essentially like Ash and Paul, but to a way more extreme level. And yeah, N was fine in the anime, but with the amazing story that accompanies the 5th generation games, the potential was there and they just didn't use it to the fullest. Then we get to the Unova League, which was really bad, like really bad. Probably the worst league ever, and there are a bunch of problems with it, such as Ash fighting his main rival in the preliminary round, and Ash losing to Cameron, a trainer even more incompetent than he was in that series. I think everyone would have been perfectly fine if Ash won against Cameron and then lost to Virgil in the top 4, but they made him go back to top 8 when he got top 4 in Sinnoh, which I never understood. And finally, we have the final arc of Best Wishes, which was entirely filler. Not much to say about it besides it was boring, besides the introduction of Alexa, who will lead Ash into the Generation 6 anime. In the end, Best Wishes had some really unique ideas and potentials, but didn't fully take it. Even with the cancellation of Team Rocket vs Team Plasma, the writers could have still done a much better job than they did. But I think the adventures in Unova were fun, if nothing else. In the end, the most important part of a show is how much you enjoy it, and honestly, I can't answer anything for this category. How much you enjoy a show is entirely up to you, and you alone. I can't force you to like something you hate or make you hate something you like. I'm just a guy on YouTube talking about the most hated season of the Pokemon anime to date, but I can say something. Pokemon Best Wishes wanted to be something great, but due to unlucky circumstances and some poor writing decisions, the series sadly just wasn't as good as it could have been. Sometimes I think if that two-parter had never been cancelled, we could have seen this series in a totally different way, but what's done is done, we can't change anything about it. So while we should look at the past, let's not hate on it. Pokemon Best Wishes may be far from the best, hell, it may not even be ideal to some of you, but it's important to remember the good and the bad, otherwise you're never going to truly understand a series. So after taking a look at the unique set of characters, the goofy yet poor battling Pokemon, battles and animations that were great sometimes, and a story that had several engaging story arcs, I can say that Pokemon Best Wishes is actually something I really enjoy a lot. Now you don't have to agree with me, but I will always look back on this series in a positive way. Not looking at this series like it's black and white, rather a gray area. I see the positives that people don't like to point out, but I don't disagree with some of the negatives either. But what do you think? Did this video change your opinion on the series, or is it still the same? Please let me know in the comments down below. My name is Zanolith, and thank you so much for checking out today's video. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on all notifications to never miss an upload, and then make sure to share these videos with friends so they can come here and join me for my journey. Next time, we're going to be looking at the most hyped and probably the most popular Pokemon anime series to date when we come back to this series eventually. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one.